What's up, everybody? This is Jay, and this is my recap for Insecure Season 4, Episode 5, Low-Key Moving On. Now, it's finally the day of the block party. Issa and Molly, tensions have been building, and it finally comes to a head in this episode. Before we get into it, if you haven't already, please subscribe and bang that bell so you're notified when I drop a video. Subscriptions cost nothing, but it means a lot to us as subscribers, which show your support. And also, if you enjoy this video and my recaps, hit that like, recommend it to others. Let's get into it. When the episode starts off, we see Issa been stressing, deep concentration, not on her mind. She go to make her a little midnight snack, and she's scrolling the gram, sees that she gonna go ahead and hit up Nathan, and so he ain't up to much. Next thing you know, she calling him. He was a little surprised. He wasn't thinking she gonna call him, but everything all good. So they end up shooting the breeze, whatever. He talking about, you doing good with your block party. What's up with you and your girl? And she pretty much was like, for the most part, I don't really even mess with Molly no more. I ain't heard from her in a minute. I don't really mess with her like that. We don't get down like that. So now we see that it's finally the day of the block party after all this planning, and we see Molly is trying to get dressed. She don't know what she gonna wear, and we see that Notorious MSG is pretty much cool. He's saying put on whatever, and she like, I really don't want to go, but that's my girl. So they both feeling some kind of way about each other. Meanwhile, Issa putting together the block party. You got wanna be Badu, more like Badon't. She was being depressing. Issa yanked her off the stage. We finally see Condola, and Issa like, well, what's up? Thanks for all the help. What's good? And she like, sorry, I ain't been around. Lawrence didn't tell you. And she like, what you talking about? Tell me what? She like, we broke up. And so Issa, just finding this out, Condola, I guess, thought her and Lawrence was still tight, which they really wasn't. She's shocked, so now it's an awkward moment. She give her thanks, but she rushed off because, it's other stuff to handle, so they didn't really get to shoot the breeze too long. We see Kelly over here acting the fool. She bring Issa in, and they start taking pictures, and Tiffany got the little jailhouse pose and everything. I love Kelly as a funny character on the show, and, she keeps it interesting. And so while she talking to Issa, next thing you know, she break out into an English accent, and she like, hey, go with it. I met this dude, I was using an accent. And so this dude walk up and she try to pretend like she English with. Meanwhile, we see Issa, she get notified that the news want to talk to her, so she doing the interview. She all geeked up, and she like, so what channel is this? She like, it's on my YouTube channel. She like, oh, okay, well, what's the name of it? She say, I didn't start it yet. She like, oh, but you got a real camera crew. She like, I wanted to make it look legit. So Isha like, anybody else? And they like, nah, don't nobody else want to talk to your ass. Meanwhile, the party going good, people doing different stuff. You got virtual reality, food, music. We see that Molly finally come. It's a little awkward moment. She like, I didn't know if you come. Of course I'd come. I'm your best friend, right? So everybody looking like that was pretty weird situation. Of course, Kelly and Tiffany has got their own little thing going. Meanwhile, Kelly is sitting there having a little drink with the little dude, and then Issa brother come up talking about, so Kelly, where you from? Oh, I'm just biscuits toast away from London, and it's really not that far. And he's like, oh, okay. She like, tell me about the American government. He like, well, we got two branches, presidential branch and the banking branch. That's Bank of America. So he an idiot. Meanwhile, we see Molly and Nappy Chan, they having a good time, and he like, this is pretty good. She like, yeah, I gotta give her, she put in a lot of work. He say, hey, maybe that was y'all problem. You was having problems when you was working too much. Let's see what happened. So she's starting to reconsider. We see Issa, she ends up meeting up with Nate Dogg. They hook up, give a hug or whatever, dap up, show love. And then while she talking, he's giving her props like, man, you actually did it. Remember when we was talking about it? You actually made it come through. You did good. So he giving her props. She happy. She appreciative, but she got to run, do other stuff. And so meanwhile, she taking a break for a quick second, and Molly pop up. So they got this little awkward moment for a second, and then Molly give her some food, like, I guess you ain't had a chance to eat, been running around, here you go. So right when Issa about to eat it, they gonna talk, here come her assistant, girl, Vin Staples is here. You gotta go. And so Molly was sitting there feeling left out again because, Issa had to go and she just sitting there. But normally she would have been there working with Issa. So she get backstage, Vin Staples there. She's telling them, we got all the stuff that you wanted. And so he's happy. And then next thing you know, he's telling her about one other thing. And then her assistant nose is bleeding like she didn't had an overdose of the devil's dandruff. Because, she sprung a leak and she was dripping bad. Everybody looking like, what the hell is she doing? And so she trying to cover it up and stop the leak and move on. Meanwhile, we see backstage that her old neighbor Blood is there, and he talking about, man, we can't let them mess up everything. What's going on? I know everybody in here, and he naming off people. She like, you just made that up. He like, yeah. Meanwhile, we see that the party is going good. Got a little dance competition. Little Mama and Old School Player. He done did the splits. He ended up winning, but they had to carry him off. And so now we see the DJ talking about we about to do a little wobble for Vin Staples come out. So everybody in the crowd, they wobbling around. And for those that don't know, that's like a modern electric slide. And so we see Rice Puff Daddy and Molly is having a good time, and then Issa get in there and start wobbling with her assistant, and then next thing you know, we see Molly and Issa, and they got a little wobble together, and so they having a good time. They laugh and smiling, and it seemed like everything's all good in the hood, and it seemed like maybe things ain't gonna be so bad between them. And so then the DJ come out and he say, hey, here come Issa. So Issa come up on stage to, give her little thanks or whatever, and of course everybody starts saying, where Vin Staples at. And so she ends up getting off the stage. Vin come up on there, he rocked the show. Everybody's happy. So after the show, Molly and Drew, they talking about how nice it was, and then we see Vin's manager come and thanking Drew, saying, hey, good thing for the hookup, good looking out. And so Molly like, what you talking about? And he said, oh, well, I gave him an email, Nathan, he asked me to do it for Issa. And she like, what? And he say, well, what's the problem? I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Look out for your best friend. And she like, hold up. So now she pissed. So she go over there and confront Issa while she over there talking with people and handling business. She like, let me talk to you. She like, so did you have Andrew do this favor for you? She like, well, I asked Nathan to ask him for me. She like, I told you I wasn't gonna do it for you. She like, yeah, and I didn't involve you. You said you didn't want to do it. I didn't involve you. So what's the problem? She like, then we see Tiffany and everybody trying to calm it down, and she like, I don't know, Molly, she over here starting drama all the time. She always miserable. And so she's saying, I just needed this favor. You saw how it was important to me, and you was gonna let me fail. She like, you always need another favor. And so Andrew like, come on, let's go. She said, see, you always got drama, you always miserable. She like, what? You same selfish bitch. She putting her fingers in her face. She like, Molly, you better get your fingers out of my face. Next thing you know, somebody talking about, she got a gun. Everybody running, and they like, man, black folks can't have nothing. And so while they at the car, Molly and Drew, they try to, make up. He like, I didn't know this was gonna cause that much problems. My bad. And so meanwhile, Tiffany and Issa, they, saying, hey, you all right? And Nathan, you need me to stay, but she said, I'm good. And so she sit there trying to put it together, and then it rained. So it seemed that it was good, but it all fell apart. Now it's time for some real talk, and that's where I give my real honest opinions and thoughts on the show. Now, and what I think is wrong with this is Molly was trying to be a little over controlling. I mean, for one, like Issa said, you made up this random rule that you wasn't going to help me, and then Molly saying, well, I was trying to keep these things separate, like as if being friends with Issa would jeopardize her relationship with Andrew. But Issa told her, if things don't work out between y'all, it ain't her fault, which is true. Molly was messing that up all on her own, which is why she didn't want to ask him, because their relationship was fragile. It's not anything to do with Issa. She shouldn't have been upset because Issa had her friend ask him. It didn't involve Molly. It didn't have anything to do with her relationship. But Molly is very controlling. And so as a lawyer, she felt that, whatever she said should have went. When she said she wasn't going to help and ask, she didn't say, don't ask my man or don't involve us. She just said she wasn't going to ask. Now, maybe she didn't think Issa would do that, but there was nothing wrong with it. And even her man was happy to help, and it wasn't a problem. But Molly deemed it a problem because in her mind, she said no, she wasn't going to do it. So she was figured that means no, don't ask him. But that's not what was said. And so I think that she was the one that was wrong instead of Issa, because Issa respected what you said. She didn't involve you. You didn't say don't involve me or my man. So that's the issue right there. And Molly was creating a problem where one didn't exist. You know, Andrew wasn't upset, and neither was Issa. The only person upset about everything was Molly. And so it's just kind of weird that it seemed that she was not liking their relationship anymore, because it seemed Issa was trying to do something, and she liked their relationship when Issa really didn't have nothing going on, and Issa was following up under her. But now that she didn't need to follow up under her and she had her own thing going, now Molly was questioning their relationship and where they stand. And I think that's really kind of selfish of her to be doing that. In the end, we'll see how it all plays out. They were showing in some previews for the next episode on whether or not they may or may not make up or make the call or whatever. But I would like to know what's more interesting. What happened with Condola and Lawrence? Why did they break up? Did she break up because Issa and Lawrence had a joke in that restaurant, or because of what they were saying at that party? I mean, that doesn't make any sense, and I didn't see a real reason for their relationship to end based off of that. And then she ghosted on Issa as if it was Issa's fault, and Issa didn't have anything to do with Lawrence like that. So I don't know. We'll see if they explain what happened or what becomes of that relationship as well. And as far as the Issa Molly thing, if I was Issa, I wouldn't be calling Molly back, because in the end she just came and tried to cause confusion and things and make things more difficult for no reason. She just decided not to help her and make these rules about keeping things separate and stuff, all just right then and there. And it made it seem as if, you know, your friend that you've known for 10, 20 years didn't matter as much as this new guy that you just met. And you was prepared to leave her hanging for what? And it was no reason. It wasn't like she was asking for money or use your credit. So I don't know, but would be interested to see how it all plays out. You guys tell me what you think in the comments. Was Issa wrong or was Molly wrong? And who should apologize first? I'll be interested to see what you guys say. Also, I want to give a big thanks to everybody that's been supporting me through PayPal and also through Super Chat and also on Patreon. You guys have been amazing, big support, and you guys have been helping me to keep my channel going, and I want to thank you all, and I'll see you all on the next video. Peace.